We really hope you're enjoying your cruise and having a wonderful time. I'd like to give you some information about tendering and how to do this safely. But first, here's a bit of history about how tendering became what it is today and how the boat got its name. A tender originally was a boat that would go from shore to tend or proffer services to a ship. In the Middle Ages, the word a tender first appeared, meaning a boat that attends to a ship's needs, and down through the centuries, this was shortened to tender. Time has changed the design of the tenders of passenger ships from one that would carry almost anything to one that is designed specifically to carry passengers. In some ports we visit on our cruise, the ship won't be able to come alongside, and we'll need to drop the anchor or use the ship's instruments to hold the ship in position. Since we won't be able to put a gangway on a pier to allow you to walk ashore, in these ports it will be necessary to use tenders. We use a variety of tenders to convey you to your exciting shore experience. Sometimes you may use the ship's tenders, and at other times the tenders will be shore supplied. But no matter what type of tender is being used, Norwegian Cruise Line operates under strict safety standards which must be met at all times. All tenders used by Norwegian are fully inspected and are equipped with all emergency equipment required by law, including sufficient life jackets for all adults and children on board. Before you go ashore by tender, you might like to think about what you're using to carry any items you have with you. A rucksack or backpack or over-the-shoulder bag is great, so you can keep your hands free to hold onto the handrails as you're boarding and leaving the tender. And don't forget security. Be sure to bring your key card and photo ID, as well as everything else you'll need to enjoy your day. And if you're on a Norwegian shore excursion, don't forget your tour ticket. When we begin tendering, please do not proceed directly to the gangway or wait in staircases or hallways close to the tender embarkation area. Not only does this become uncomfortable, it is also hazardous because exit routes can become blocked. It also significantly slows down the tendering process as people need to embark the ship from the tender and their way becomes restricted. Instead, just like at an airport before boarding a plane, we have an assigned tender waiting area. Please listen to announcements and follow the signs and crew directions to the waiting area, which will be much more comfortable for you and your party. Unlike the airlines, we do not board by row number, and you will embark the tender in the order that you arrive. Remember, if you try to cut the line and go directly to the gangway, you will be redirected to the waiting area, which means that you'll be further back in the line, and this will delay you and your party's embarking of the tender. When the tender arrives and people returning to the ship have disembarked, you will be led to embark the tender. This method of embarkation is quicker, easier, and safer for you. Once the initial rush is over and most guests are ashore, the ship will announce free boarding. Since the majority of our guests have tendered already, those of you who have decided to take a slow and easy day can make your way directly to the tender embarkation area. You may want to watch from the promenade deck or your cabin balcony until you see that a tender is alongside. Tenders normally work on a timed schedule once free boarding has started, and if you're going to the tender area, you might want to wait for a few minutes for those on board to disembark before making your way there so you don't have to move against the flow of traffic. When you get to the tender embarkation point, scan your key card.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. And put it away in a safe place immediately afterwards so your hand is free, and continue to the tender platform. Remember, the tender may be moving much more than the ship. Use extra caution and watch your step when approaching and boarding the tender. When going downstairs or across a gangway, please watch your head. Also, hold on to the handrails and allow the crew on hand to assist you if necessary. Thank you. Our crew on board our tenders are well trained, and your safety is their first priority, so please follow their instructions at all times. Always remember, we will only tender when it is safe to do so, and tenders, even the big ones, are much smaller than the ship and will be much more likely to move around, especially if the wind rises or the sea develops a swell. When embarking or debarking, take extra care when crossing the gap between the platform and the tender. Our experienced crew will always be willing to assist small children to board the tenders, so your hands are free to hold on. If there is sudden movement, like a boat passing by and causing a wake, then crew may ask you to wait until things settle down before allowing you to embark. If this is the case, please be patient and follow their instructions. As you enter the tender, the crew will direct you to be seated. Although the tender may not be moving, remember that motion could only be a small wave away, so always take care when going to your seat and be sure to hold on to the handrails, poles, or seat backs. While you are moving to your seat, please don't take pictures or block the accesses. We're trying to get everyone ashore as quickly and safely as possible, so please find your seat as quickly as you can. And please be reminded that all tenders, whether ship or shore supplied, are non-smoking areas. Once everyone has embarked and is seated, the tender will leave the ship and head to shore. Remember a few simple rules to follow for your and everyone else's safety. Remain seated at all times when the tender is in motion. Do not lean over the side or out of the windows. If you're traveling on a tender with an open deck, keep your belongings where the wind cannot carry them away. Keep your arms inboard, especially when the tender is approaching a dock or the ship. The tender can move unexpectedly when it is maneuvering or coming alongside, so please do not be tempted to stand up as the tender is approaching the dock or the ship, as it may come to a sudden stop. When the tender arrives at the dock or the ship, it will take a short time for the crew to secure the tender alongside. Please remain seated until the crew tell you it is safe to disembark. Whether you are on a shore or a ship-supplied tender, the method of disembarkation will follow a specific order to allow you to disembark in the quickest and safest way possible. So again, please follow the crew's instructions and only make your way to the exit when instructed to do so by the crew. Piers or docks can be at different levels, requiring steps or ramps to be in place to assist you stepping ashore. Please be careful and remember the tender can still move even in the calmest harbor due to traffic. So when moving from the tender to the dock, remember to keep those hands free. Aren't you glad you brought that handy rucksack or shoulder bag now? As before, our crew will always be on hand and willing to assist you in getting out of the tender safely, and if you need extra help, just let them know. When you get to the dock, unless you are assisting someone, we ask that you please move away from the tender towards the pier exit to allow your fellow guests room to disembark safely. As before, with small children, ensure that they are assisted and that you have both hands free. Enjoy your time ashore and come back to the tender dock whenever you're ready to return to the ship. Just remember to be back before the all-aboard time shown on your daily program. All you need to return to the ship are your guest keycard and photo ID to show ship security. And just like in all our ports of call, baggage and personal searches will be carried out at the gangway to ensure your security and safety. Okay, we just want to make sure you're thinking tender safety, so let's summarize. Think of hands free. Bring a rucksack or shoulder bag. Early during the tender process, do not proceed to the gangway. Wait in the assigned area. Put your keycard away after scanning. When boarding or disembarking, allow crew to assist you. Assist children into and out of the tender. Hold on when boarding and leaving the tender, and when moving to your seat. No smoking. Remain seated while the tender is in transit. Disembark only when crew instruct you to do so. Well, that's about it. We really hope you enjoy a safe tendering experience. Among other things, it's a great place to meet with your fellow guests and share experiences as you head out or back to the ship.